Me too. Where is this their restroom? Did from our previous class. Then we push forward. Okay. Then go for the business of the day. I'm trying to have a rundown because majority of you were not in my class. So which means you missed a lot. My dear, were you not in my previous class? What about the assignment I gave you? No, I gave assignment. Okay. All right. Now let's pay attention. If you are writing other notes, stop. My Ace, what are you writing? Which Agric? My own Agric. Wait now, After the class, you can continue, just focus on jotting what I'm about to say. Are we together? Let's proceed. Please permit me to stand, to sit rather. All right. From our previous class, we gave introductory explanation of what Agric means, and then we're able to define Agric as a system that that involves transitations of crops, no, rearing of animals, and many others. We defined Agric. Then we went further in giving the branches of Agric. We gave different branches of Agric, where we talk about the agronomy, the horticulture, the forestry, and of course, we gave characteristics of these things. Then we also push further to talk about the importance of Agric, of agriculture. The importance of agriculture, we're able to see, we're able to digress, and we're able to understand that agriculture actually is important in provisions of food, provisions of raw materials. Okay, food for humans and of course for livestock, and of course it also provides timbers. Okay, and we of course agriculture also allows, because of the practice of, these people are making noise and it's disturbing me, because of agricultural practices, it makes it possible to have, makes it possible for researchers to be able to use plants, okay, use plants in producing what? Medicine. Because we're able to see that plants usually have what known as cider effect and static effect on microorganisms. Of course, different ailments in the body are easily caused by what? Are caused by what? Microorganisms. And these microorganisms can either be bacteria, fungi, protozoas, or virus. Are we together? Then you're able to see that researchers rather, pharmaceutical industries were able to come up, research institutes rather, able to gather, go on a research on some certain plants, and of course the roles that this plant have on this organism. We're able to see that these plants, drugs that we take, most of the synthetic drugs that we take are actually abstract from plants. Are we together? We also digress further. I gave instances. I'm giving this little touch. Please try and get jotting from those that were in my class, and write. Okay, we're able to see that we're able to give some little touch by giving illustration. I gave instances of our mothers back then, you know um they bring one or two hives, okay, cook it together, bring it together, cook it, then give it to you, then you take as medicine, and it works. Are we together? It works. Some Most times, most of our parents, if you are down with malaria or thereabout, they pluck some plants. Is that not so? And these are agricultural products. So they plays roles having cider effect on microorganisms in curing, and then thereby giving you what you want. Are we together? So we did all these things. In fact, we gave a lot of economic importance of what? Agriculture. Yes, we also went further in talking about, see, um stand up, go and tell them to stop that noise. Tell them to stop that noise. If you say so, they will not listen. Say biology teacher say they should stop. All right. All right. Are we together, class? We now went further. Still last week, we also went further in talking about ecological zones in West Africa. Okay, ecological zones in West Africa, and of course the part that is found, and some crops that is found in these ecological zones. Okay, we went further in talking about genetics, but I think I should start from genetics because we didn't finish genetics, so we should start from genetics. Do you understand? Now, what is genetics? What is genetics? Wait, class, have you come across this word genetics before? Very good. Huh? What is genetics? Yes. All right. Now, genetics. Are we together, class? Genetics is a branch of science that study hereditary and variations in living organisms. Are we together? Studies what heredity and what variations in what living organism. These living organisms can either be macro organisms or what microorganisms. Are we together, class? Now, the question is, what is heredity and what is variation? What is heredity and what is variation? Anybody try say I love interaction in my class. I love interaction in my class. Okay, just try. Nobody will laugh at you, nobody will beat you. Say what you understand. Okay, let's flow. Yes.
I don't understand. Hereditary is a marks, characters that parents pass to their offspring.
Round of applause for him, please. Very good. That is it. Now, these characters. Okay, did you hear what he said? You heard what he said? Okay, you didn't hear? But I asked you not to see them. Why you see them? Oh yeah, leave that place. I want to have row. I want to have Agric here. I don't want to be turning left and right. If you are doing Agric, sit on this row. Okay, yeah, please, audible. Maybe you can stand up so that they will hear you.
Hereditary are marks and characters parents pass to their offspring.
Okay, so hereditary is traits or characters, okay, which is passed on from parent to what their offspring. Are we together? Which is passed on from parent to what their offspring. And what are these characters or trait? I'm not talking about bad character and good character. I'm not be able to greet somebody. I'm not talking about those kind of character. Yes. Facial look. Height. Yeah. The eyes. Shape of eyes. The eye colors exactly. Even the numbers of hairs. Are we together? This even the complexions of your skin. Are we together, class? The complexion. Hello. Complexions, the color of your skins, the color of your skin, even your genome as well. That is the genetic makeup of you. Can be inherited from what your parents. Are we together? Can be inherited from what your parents. So hereditary are more of like characters or traits that can be inherited by what from parent to what their offspring. Of course, in genetics there is what we call gene recombination. Are we together? In genetics there is what we call gene recombination. It is a process whereby the genes of the maternal and the genes of the paternal crosses, okay, where the genes of the man goes into the genes of the woman, thereby forming a different gene entirely. Okay, of course, this okay, maybe in our subsequent listing you understand much better. So this gene that is transferred from offspring, from parents to offsprings, of course, are known to be hereditary because it can be inherited. Are we together? In subdivision that we are going to treat, there is what we call gene synapses. There's what we call gene synapses. That is ability of, I mean, the missing of information, genetic information of the father and the mother coming together to form we treat it during cell division. Are we together, class? Now, talking about genetics, a an Australian monk called Gregor Mendel. Have you heard of that word before? Huh? Huh?
Mendel.
Yes. Okay, you just hear Mendel, but you have not know his full name. Okay, his full name is Gregor Mendel. Gregor Mendel. Gregor Mendel is a monk. You know who is a monk, right? The Catholic, we understand what where I'm going. Monk. 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 Monk are monk are monk are people in the monastery. Okay, they are people in the monastery, more of like Catholic sects, Roman Catholic sect. People in the monastery that their basic work, what they do is that they only pray and fast. They'll pray and fast for the world entirely. Okay, and they are not usually found close to settlement like this. They are usually found in the bush, away from people to avoid sin. They try their possible best to avoid sin. They are called monk. Do you understand? So Gregor Mendel is a monk and he's also a scientist. So now Gregor Mendel he is actually known as the father of genetics, no doubt. He's actually known as the father of genetics because of his contribution that it has, the contributions that he had on what genetics entirely. Now, Gregor Mendel, in studying genetics, he picked a plant called Pison sativum. Have you heard of Pison sativum before? Also called pea plant. Now, you know you know Mendel, but you don't know the plant he worked on. Okay, Gregor Mendel works on a plant called what? Pea plant or Pison sativum. Now, the reason why he works on this plant is because one, the plants have the tendency of growing fast. They have fast growing rate. Okay, they also have two contracting characters. Are we together? They also have two contracting characters. Either the plant is short or the plant is dwarf. Do you understand? But not the two. So it picked interest on this plant because the plant is easy. Unlike maize that you have to take long period of time before it start. But this plant grows faster. Pea plant. Now, in picking pea plant, this is what he did.
Oh God, you know funny.
Now, what Gregor Mendel did, was that after picking this plant, huh, he crossed, he took the pollens, of a tall plant and pollinated it on a short plant. Now, that is, he crossed two of them. Are we together? He crossed tall pea plants and then short plants. Now, after crossing these plants, he was able to observe something. Now, this is how it crossed. Please, this is how, if you want to write the crossing of Gregor Mendel, this is how you do it. You must write this. This thing shows that you are trying to cross two different genes. Are we together? Now, these two, hello, these two, I gave assignment to the other people to explain some terminologies that is used in genetics. Definitions of alleles, definitions of locus, are we together? Many definitions, even homozygous, heterozygous. These are the definitions. I gave assignment, and I expect those that I gave the assignment to have it in their note. Now, these two are called genes. Are we together? These two are called what? Gene. Now, this T represents, are called what you know as alleles or allelomophores. That is, two alleles coming together produce what? A particular gene. Are we together? So this is this is capital T, that is alleles for tallness, These two coming together to give what? Alleles, to give gene for tallness. Why this give what? Gene for what? Dwarf or shortness. Are we together? Now, what he did was that he crossed the tall plant with the short plant, and this is how the crossing was done. Now, in crossing this, he crossed this allele, he crossed this tall with this one with this with this with that. Are you together? Are we together, class? Then he gave this, cross this to this. He gives something like this. Capital T and small t, abi? Then cross this, still the same thing, capital T and small t. Then he went further, here to here, capital T. Okay. Then we have capital T, small t. Is that not so? Yeah, encore. And yeah. Are we together, class? Now, this, hello. Then after crossing, he gave this generation as was first filial generation, which is F1. You did it in your secondary school, right? F1, which is also called first filial generation. Are we together? Now, what these things means is this. Hello? What these things means is that after crossing, these are all tall plants. Are we together? In the assignment I gave, the terminology that I still use in genetics is dominant and recessive. Dominant and recessive. The dominant genes is a gene that shows itself outwardly. Okay, that shows itself outwardly. Like this capital T. This capital T is what? Dominant gene, dominant alleles. And then this one is what? Recessive. Are we together? The small t. It is because the capital T, which is for tallness, is dominant, that makes the offspring to be tall, or that makes the offspring to show tallness. Are we together? This thing that happens in humans also happens in plant, also happens in humans. Are we together? The same thing, of course. For some of you, maybe your dad is tall and your mom is short. During crossing, of course, once the crossing I'm talking about, after mating and then they give birth to you, you if you collect if the dominant gene that you have that comes out from you for tallness, of course, tallness is a trait, right? A character. If a dominant gene that you inherit is tallness, which is from your dad, now you as the offspring will have what? Tall gene. Are we together? I mean, we become tall at the end of the day. But that doesn't mean that you don't have recessive gene in you. That doesn't mean that you don't have the gene of your mother inside. Are we together? But what shows itself outwardly is what? Tall gene, which is from your dad or from your mom. Are we together, class? So now, this in genetics, this is called heterozygously tall. Are we together, class? This is in genetics. This is called what? Heterozygously tall. Because it is called heterozygously because the gene, the gene that is formed is made up of two alleles. Okay, two alleles. The alleles for tallness is different from the alleles. The alleles which shows itself as dominant is different from alleles which is recessive. So this is a heterozygous tall plant. But if you look at this, this is capital T, abi, small t, small t. So we can say this is homozygous tall and homozygous short. Are we together? But if they appear like this, then it's what? Heterozygous tall. Are we together, class? Now, pushing forward, Gregor Mendel, after crossing to get the first filial generation, what he also did was that he crossed the offspring that is gotten from the first crossing. He crossed these two, this heterozygously tall. After crossing them, then he was able to observe that, okay, phenotypically, let me illustrate it on the board. Hope you understand this one. Now, remember, I say that the first filial generation give what? Heterozygously tall what? Offspring. Now, he went further. Gregor Mendel also went further and crossed this heterozygously tall plant, which is this and this. Abi? Now, after crossing, he got this. If you cross this to this, what will you have? Help me now. If you cross this to this, what will you have? Capital T, is that not so? If you cross this to this, what will you have? Cross this to this, what will you have? Oh, very good. Oh, very good. Very good. Very good. Now, he then named this second filial, which is also represented as F2. Are we together? Now, after doing this, he gave a ratio. Now, after crossing, phenotypically, that is what you can see. Phenotypically, he observe. Hello, class. What is wrong with you now? Why are you doing that? Phenotypically, he was able to observe that 3 are tall and 1 is what? Dwarf, which gives a ratio of 3 ratio what? Yeah, that is what you should have done. Which gives a ratio of what? 3 ratio what? Are we together? Now, genotypically, it gave a ratio of 1 ratio 2 ratio 1, which means that 1 is homozygously what? 2 is what? 2 is what? Hey, 1 is homozygously, 2 is what? Eh? 2 is heterozygously. Let me write it down. Are we together, class? After crossing in the results of the second filial generation, he was able to observe genotypically that 1 is homozygously tall, 2 is heterozygously tall, and 1 is homozygously short. Know this. For those that is writing Waec, this is common questions that they will ask you. Do you understand? Don't play with this, eh? Now, phenotypically, he was able to observe that, as I say, phenotypically they are what? 3 is tall, Abi, and then 1 is what? What did I say about homozygous? What did I say about the genotypically representation? I say 1 is what? Say it out now. Let me hear you from here. 2 is what? And 1 is what? Phenotypically, 3 is what? Phenotypically, 3 is what? There's nothing like average there. Phenotypically, 3 is what? Have you not understood the difference between homozygous and heterozygous? You understand the difference between homozygous and I say this ones is what? Homozygous, because they have the same gene, the same alleles. Are you together? the same alleles, these two, and this one is the same alleles, abi? Which means they are homozygote. Homo means what? The same. Are we together? Homos means the same. So these two having two capital letter is homozygous, homozygous. This one have different alleles. Are we together? Capital letter and what? That is it. So, and then I gave a ratio. Phenotypically, I say 3 ratio what? 1. Which means, and as genotypically, I say 1 is what? 2 is what? These two. And then the other one? Very good. So if that should be the case, then 3 phenotypically should be what? Come on, I have brilliant students here now, Abi. Eh? So is this heterozygous? Is this heterozygous? So 3 is what? That is not correct. Which one is heterozygosly? Which one is homozygous? All right. Are we together, class? What it means is that 3 are tall. 3 are what? And 1 is what? Simple, right? What did I say here? 3 are, and so in case you are asked to give the results of Gregor Mendel in his second filial generation, to give the result of what? The crossing of Gregor Mendel in his second filial generation. The result is that genotypically 1 is homozygosly tall, 2 is heterozygosly tall, and 1 is homozygosly. Phenotypically, the result again, phenotypically is that 3 is what? And 1 is what? Is it difficult? Okay. Okay. Now I want you to write. Now, I haven't said all this. This monk actually brought about 3 different laws. I mean, to force the, brought 3 different laws. Are we together? Law of dominance, law of segregation, and law of independent assortment. These are the 3 laws that was brought about by what? From Gregor Mendel's experiment. Are we together? That was brought about from what? Gregor Mendel what? Experiment on what? Piston sativum. Hope you know how to spell the piston. Nobody asked me of the spelling of piston sativum. What is the spelling of piston sativum? What did you write there? What is the spelling of piston sativum? Yes. So what were you writing? Okay, what is the spelling of the pea plant? What is the spelling of the pea plant that you have written in your book?
E.
Eh? P. You say, who is talking? So if exam should come now, you say, not right.
It's more like P-E-L.
Spell it now.
P-E-L.
P-E. No. Eh? How did you spell P plant? See, class, hello class, hello class. If not me, if any lecturer is standing before you and then maybe he pronounce some things, of course you are expected that you are expected to judge. Is that not so? If you don't understand certain spelling, call the attentions of your lecturer. It's very, very important. Biology, you see spelling in biology, very, very important. If you miss one letter in the spelling, you are saying the different thing. Just like your name. What is your name? Victoria. Imagine you remove V from Victoria. If I should call you, Now, if I call you Victoria, will you answer? Will you not answer, B? The same thing in biology. If you remove one letter, you are saying a different thing, and your examiner will fail you. That is just it. So you need to understand. You need to get the words correctly, the spelling. So what is the spelling of P plant is PEA and plant? Now what about Pison sativon? I say Pison sativon is also called P plant. In case you see it in your exam. In case you see it in your exam, you might see just Pison sativon, or you might see just what is it called? You might see just P plant. But if you see Pison sativon, it means they're talking about Pison sativon is a scientific name for P plant. Pison sativon is spelled PISIUM SATIVUM. Are we together? Now, Gregor Mendel brought about three P-I. Okay, I should write it on the board, ba? Can you see it from there? Huh? Hello class. This is a scientific name. And in writing the name of organisms, in writing the scientific name of organisms, it must follow the binomial system of nomenclature. And of course, the taxonomic rules of nomenclature, where the generic and the species is the generic name starts with what? Capital letter, while the species starts with what? Small letter. Do you understand? Now, since you are writing in your book, since you are writing these things in your book, you have to underline them separately. Underline this separately. But assuming you are typing it, assuming you are typing, you italicize these two. Do you understand? You know what is italic, Abi? Do you understand what I'm saying? Who do not understand? Can we push forward? See, underline, don't go underline as if you are doing heading, no. Separately, Can we push forward? Now, one of the laws that was brought about, that was gotten from Gregor Mendel's experiment, is law of dominance. You know how to spell dominance, right? Very good. Law of dominance. It states that when two varieties with contrasting characters, contrasting characters interbreed, when two contrasting character, when two varieties of contrasting characters interbreed, their offspring do not show any intermediate character. I will explain that later. Interbreed. Breed. Their offspring do not show any intermediate character. So the character that expresses himself phenotypically is said to be what? Dominant character. Some is already lost. Okay. Where did you stop?
Do not show any.
Let me start from beginning. Law of dominance shows that when two varieties with contrasting characters interbreed, their offspring do not show any intermediate character. Full stop. The offspring, the character that expresses the character, full stop will continue. The character that expresses himself phenotypically is said to be dominant character, and vice versa. Are we together, class? If you are lost, check from your friends. Now wow, now no sabi write fast. Just simple this thing. I've said it twice. Okay, let me just write it on the board. Okay, which one is a grammar now? Hey, the spell is on the board now. I want to clean this. Should I? Hope you can see it now. Okay. You want to bend your eye, so you are folding your eye like this. All right, don't worry. I'm going to read it out. Yeah. Are we together? Are we together? Now, law of dominance. Ace, back there. Yeah, what? I'm talking to you now. Reduce your noise. And I need total silence, okay? All right, let's proceed now. Law of dominance. When two varieties with contrasting characters interbreed, their offspring do not show any intermediate character. The character that expresses itself phenotypically is the dominant character, and the character that do not expresses itself phenotypically is what? The recessive. Are we together? The recessive what? Character. Law of segregation states that when two alleles alleles is also called allomophore. You are not in my previous class, so I gave assignments. There are about 28 different terms that is used in genetics. Please try to get that assignment. It's very, very important. Are we together? From next week, hello, you're not here now. Next week, Tuesday, I'm going to request for that assignment, and I will expect all of you to have it. If anybody do not have it, you know what I will do now. You will not attend my class. You just excuse us. All right. When two allelase genes are present in one cell, which undergoes meiosis, half of the meiotic products we possess copy of one gene, and the other two we possess copy of the other gene. This is explaining this part is explaining what you known as gene recombinations and of course gene crossing. Okay, I think I should just give here's my marker. Let me give little illustration here. Give little illustration. I hope you know that. Hello class, are we together? The genetic materials, or the content, the thread-like structures inside nucleic acid is called chromosomes. Are we together? It's called what? Chromosomes. Chromosomes is thin and very thin and long. Are we together, class? You have seen, you have eaten Indomie. Okay, you know how Indomie is now. Cook one. How thin and long it is. This one is even thinner than it. Are we together? So now, the chromosomes, inside these chromosomes, there is what? Genes. Inside these chromosomes, there is gene. There is there is gene inside. Okay, let's say let's assume, hello class, let's assume this is chromosomes. Inside of this there is genes possessing different character, possessing different character for tallness, character for dwarfness, character for color, name it. Now, during gene recombination, where the maternal gene and the paternal gene, now okay, this one is okay. During gene recombination, when the paternal gene and the maternal gene mix themselves, now the crossing, now the gene of this goes into the gene. Let's say this is maternal, let's say this is a mother gene, The gene of this fuses himself to the gene of the father. Do you understand? That is, the gene of this goes fuses himself here, thereby forming a different shapes, thereby forming a different hello class, thereby forming a different chromosomes having different form of what gene entirely inside. Are we together? Having now at the end of the day, you will observe that the offspring, that this chromosome that is formed contains the gene of the father, contains the gene of the mother, because of the crossing that has taken place here. Okay. I would have loved to go deep inside these gene recombinations and gene crossing, but I think is that part is more of like A level, or I think if you get to 100 level, you will be taught all those things. Now, once the crossing is done, this we have gene of the father and gene of what the mother. Are we together, class? Now, is talking about, he say when two allelase genes are present in one cell which undergoes meiosis, half of the meiotic product will possess copies of one gene and the other two will produce copies of the other gene. So once it's split into two, then this will have its own copy and then this will have its own copy. This law is called law of segregation. That is, you give this one his own quote, give this one his own quote. Do you understand? Law of segregation. Now, another law that was gotten from Gregor Mendel is law of independent assortment, which states that each heritable allele is inherited independently of one another. Each heritable allele is inherited independently of one another. Now, the fact that an offspring possesses genes, alleles for tallness from the father, from the father, do not necessarily mean that the offspring will also possess alleles for complexion from the same father. Do you understand? From the same father. So these alleles for tallness can be gotten from the father and complexion can be gotten from the mother. So that explanation talks about law of independent what assortment. These heights of organisms, plants, animals explain this. Height of individuals, mammals, also explains this law of independent assortment. Okay. Are we good? Are we clear? All right. Let's proceed. Now, what we have there is cell division. Is that not so? Okay, how many of you did cell division in your secondary school back then? How many of you? Just raise up your hand. If you know that you did cell division in your secondary school, raise up your hand. I will change three of you. You are distracted. Cell division. Are we together? How many of you did cell division in secondary school? I want to know the level of how we teach this particular topic. Okay, so nobody. Okay. All right. You know what is a cell, right? Really not in my previous first biology class we did cell. The organization of living organisms, when I treated cell, tissues, organs. You say?
I'm not a biology student.
Okay. Oh. Okay. Is there any biology student here? Anyone that will be attending my class? I'm talking about my students. Okay. So none of you attend biology class, but you are art students. Oh, art students. Shit. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's take it slow, but I thought maybe most of you attend my class. So I was teaching thinking that we have done all these things before. All right, let's proceed. In a living organism, huh? Hey, stand up. Yeah, stand up. Okay, your suggestion is okay. Come to the front. Let me come and sit here. Be fast. Are we together? There is what we call organization of what? Living organism. That is the stage by stage in which living organism is formed, especially macroorganism. Macroorganisms are, multicellular organisms rather. Example of multicellular organisms are animals, like humans, goat, cows. They are multicellular organisms, organisms that you can see with your eyes, and organisms that is made up of of many cells. Do you understand? Or made up of many cells. They are called multicellular. Right? From the word multicellular, right? Means many cells. Abi? Yes. Of course, plant is a multicellular. All these things are. Now, organization of living organisms has to do with the coming together of different cells, millions of cells, thousands of cells, they divide. This cell divide, they keep dividing, they follow process, keep dividing. As they divide, then they come together to perform a particular function. That particular function is called tissue. Do you understand? That particular coming together, cells, group of many cells, that come together, they form what is known as tissues. Do you understand? Now, the same tissues, group of many tissues that come together form what is known as what? Organs. Are we together? Group of organs comes together, they form what is known as what? System. Do you understand? Are we good? Now, examples of these cells now. What are the examples of these cells? Animal have cells. Is that not so? Plant also have what? Cells. Are we together? Now, plants have, there are different examples of cells in animal. There are also different examples of cells in plants. These cells undergoes repeated what? Divisions. Either mitotic divisions, that is mitosis or meiosis, so as to form tissues at the end of the day. Are we good? Now, animals have different cells, like blood cells. What are the blood cells? Okay, have you come across this word blood cells before? You have come across blood cells. Okay, what are examples of these blood cells? Okay, you can say it out so that others will hear you. Okay, you say red blood cells.
White blood cells.
White blood cells. What else again? Okay, there are three basic types of blood cells in the body. The white blood cell, the red blood cells, and platelets. They have their functions different. They play their own functions independently. Do you understand? The red blood cells is also called erythrocytes. Their work is to carry oxygen and nutrients from the body, giving it to cells. Are you together? The red blood cells rather is made up of. I meant to say that the red blood cells is made up of red pigmentations called hemoglobins. The hemoglobins carries oxygen, carries nutrients, supplies to different parts of the body. Do you understand? We also have what? The white blood cell. The white blood cell is also called leukocytes. The white blood cell is also called what? Leukocytes. Are we together? Though we have different types of white blood cells, but let me not go into that part. Then we also have what's known as the platelet. The platelet is also called what? Thrombocyte. Are we together? The platelet is called thrombocyte. The work of the thrombocyte is for what? Clotting. If you have injury, it's a thrombocyte that clots that place so that it will not, so as to prevent excess bleeding. Then we have general blood class. Of course, these are the cells in humans. We have different cells. We have germ cells. Are we together? We also have somatic cells. These are cells in the body. Are we together? The germ cells are usually found. Are we together, class? The germ cells are usually found in the bone marrow. The bone marrow is a part of the body that produces blood cells. The bone marrows are of different places. The bone marrow, this bone is called the femur bone. You see this bone? It's known as the longest bone in the human body. This bone here is called femur bone, and it contains bone marrow inside. Your ribs, your ribs have what? Bone marrow, produces blood. I'm talking about places that produces blood. Your ribs produces blood. Your ribs rather produces blood. Your femur produces blood. Your spines, your spinal cord, your spines, the vertebra. We have about 7 different vertebra. Okay, don't worry, I will not go into that. Okay, but the vertebra produces, also have bone marrows which produces blood. Do you understand what I'm saying? Also, plants also have cells. Is that not so? Plants have cells. Examples of plant cells: meristematic cells. It is the meristematic cells now. Meristematic cells is found in the root. You know root, abi, root of plant. The tips of root of plant. Meristematic cell is found there. Do you understand? Meristematic cell is also found at the shoot of the shoot system. Plants have 2 systems: shoot system and root system. It's not like animal that have about 11 system. Plants only have how many systems? Animal have about 11 what? Systems. Are we together? Now, the meristematic cells, as I said, are found in the root tips of plants. You know tips, abi, you know what is mean by tips, abi? And then the shoot apex of what? Of plant. Shoots, that is roots and shoots. The shoot system start from the stem. From that ground level where you can no more see anything about plant. Coming up is called the shoot. That is the stem, the branch, the flowers are the shoot system. Make up the shoot system. Why the roots, of course, make up the root what? System. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Now, these cells in plants, these cells in animal undergoes what? What undergoes division called cell division. If cell division do not take place, tissues will not be formed, organ will not be formed, system will not be formed. Do you understand what I'm saying? So cell division is very, very what? Important. It's very, very important for what? Living organisms. You see these people, they will still get admission. No? I wonder if they will go to higher institution to behave like this.
When they play their play before they reach that level, you cannot stop the child from being a child.
Don't worry. By the time you go to higher institution, and then you have 11 to 12 sophisticated courses that you have to study. Normally, at first semester, you will carry your secondary school mentality to higher institution. No wahala. You will do guy, you will do shakara, you will make friends, you will go to club, you will do all these things. This is student life now. You will do these things. You will show that you're a big boy. After your first semester exam, your result will humble you. You will become as humble as dove.
What's that?
You'll be greeting anybody you see, even your younger ones, you'll be greeting them because you'll be as gentle. Your mentality of life will change after your first semester exam. So keep doing it. Let's proceed. Now, meristematic cells, plants, animals undergoes what? Cell division. Remember, I said every living organism starts from what? Cell. Is that not so? And inside this cell, there is a material inside this cell that gives this cell its function. Without this material inside, the cell will not work. They are called cell organelles. Have you come across that word before? Cell organelle before? Okay. I just want you to understand this basis. Hello? I want you to understand this basis before we go into cell division. Otherwise, we'll just be wasting our time. Okay. Okay. For the ladies, you cook rice, Abi? Okay. No, let me just say, what are the things that makes a food to be delicious? There must be maggi, there must be salt.
If you cannot cook, you cannot cook.
I'm talking about delicious food though. I'm not talking about person that cannot cook. There must be maggi, salt, all these things inside, there be spices inside to make it sweet. Now, hello, let's imagine rice. Let's imagine rice. Let's say you are cooking rice, Abi. You want rice to be sweet. You put all these things. Let's imagine rice now as a cell. No, let's imagine rice as a cell. The maggi, all these things, okpehe that you put inside. Dawa. Hello, forget it. Okpehe is locust beans now. All these things that you put, let's assume all these things that you put is the cell organelle. I say let's assume rice is a cell, Abi, and let's assume all these things, crayfish and all these things that you put is a cell organelle. Imagine you remove all these things. Imagine you remove maggi, remove pepper, remove tasteless. Will you be able to eat it? Rice will be what? Useless. You can't enter your mouth. Abi? Now the same thing with cell. Cell have what is known as cell organelle. We have different cell organelle. We have nucleus if it's in plants. We have nucleus, we have cell wall, we have chloroplast, we have mitochondria, we have vacuole, we have different of them inside the cell to make the cell alive. The same thing with animal cell. It's just the animal cell do not have cell wall. But they have small vacuole or no vacuole at all in animal. Are we together? Now, let's pick one organism to explain cell division. Should we use animal or plant? Let's use plant, ba?
Leave this class. Elijah, get out.
Let's proceed. Let them not distract us. Wait, so this door should this back door should have door now. This back the exit should have door. Ace, go out. Now, Ace, Mr. Man. Can we proceed? He said, which of the cells should we take?
Animal.
Plants. Okay, let's take plant now, Abi. Let's take plant. Okay. I mentioned, which of the cells did I mention in plants? The meristematic cells, right? That I say that is found in the root apes, shoot root tips, and then shoot apes, abi. Mesomatic cells, abi. Very good. Now let's use mesomatic cells to explain it. Mesomatic cells, we have to undergo repeated cell division so as to form tissues in plants. There are different tissues in plants. We have mesenchymal tissues, we have parenchymal tissues, we have sclerenchymal tissues, peridermal tissues, parenchymal tissues, different tissues.
So it's not the same thing you are repeating.
It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing, eh? Parenchymal tissue, collenchymal tissue, is it the same thing? The spelling, is it the same thing? All right. What should I do now? Okay, all right. Don't worry. The essence is just to know this was cell division. We are going to define cell division. We are going to give the stages of cell division and the importance of cell division. I mentioned these tissues because these cells, we have to undergo cell division so as to form what? Tissues. Now, cell division now. Definition. Cell division is a process whereby cell division is a process whereby a cell, a parent cell, cell division is a process whereby a parent cell, cell divide into two or more daughter cells.
I know you son.
Eh?
I know you son.
Why do you son?
Divide into or more daughter son.
In your exam, don't write son. I say parents. I did not say son.
You see, why do you not say son? You are saying
Two or more daughter.
boys is usually son.
Okay. Oh,
Some boys with some girls
Why
with
do